This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back to the show. Daniel Greenfield joining us. Excited. He's the owner of his own wellness center. It's called Nordic Recovery. Yeah, we're going to talk about this. Pretty fascinating because, as you say, it's not just ability which determines success. It's all about energy. And while he's got an amazing recovery studio, we're going to get to know all he's doing to help regular people like us, athletes, parents, you name it, he does it. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Jill. Thank you for having me.
Well, welcome. Where are you based out of in Florida?
So not the state of Florida, the village. So that's one discrepancy. A lot of people are like, "Oh, am I in Florida?" Well, no. So it's the village of Florida. It's in Orange County, New York. So it's just
Perfect.
about like 45 to an hour from the George Washington Bridge.
Well, want to hear something? I live in Long Island, New York, my whole life, and I was laughing because it says, "Where are you currently located?" And I'm reading his notes. It says Florida, comma New York. I'm like, that's obviously an error. We're in New York. They must have put. I had no idea. So you're
Yeah.
not that far from me. Oh my goodness. Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you for clarifying that for me. And we're really excited to get to know you and all you have to do. Just to start, just tell us a little overview about the company before we dive into your kind of your backstory, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So Nordic Recovery, as you said, is a wellness center that's offering 7 different types of holistic services to recover your wellness, re-energize your body's vital energy, and also rejuvenate your mind, right? So many of us at this point in life really feel like we're getting to that stage of burnout, right? You hear it all the time, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, whatever it is, right? We just don't have enough gas in the tank to get to our destination, right? And if we don't have enough gas, it doesn't matter how beautiful that car is, as we know, we can't get to where we want to go. So Nordic
Uh-huh.
Recovery is all about and working in, right? Bringing the energy into our bodies because there's so much in our lives that we're giving energy out to, right? And if we don't have enough in our cup, we can't fill enough to others either. So the best thing we could do is take care of ourselves so we could take care of others. And how we take care of you at Nordic Recovery is by offering, like I said, those 7 different types of wellness services, which are air compression massage therapy, which is very good for the lymphatic system, right? It's going to compress your leg, lower body, squeezing out the lymph, the inflammation, the old blood that pools, right? Because of
Mm-hmm.
gravity, it's always working down. That's why we get more sore in our lower body or we get edema in our ankles.
Yep.
So we
Mm-hmm.
really need that lymphatic drainage to bring it back to organs, filter to get that new nutrient rich blood. So
Oh,
basically, that part feels really good. It's like a massage, right? So
okay.
you're just relaxing. It's around 20 to 30 minutes. And then from there, you would move on to our cold and hot section, right? So we have our cold water therapy, where we have
Mm-hmm.
2 different temperatures.
Okay.
Technically, cold water, if you don't know, begins at 60 degrees and below, right? So
Okay.
even though nowadays, right, in the upstate New York and the Northeast, we might be getting to going to the lakes, right? Maybe the ocean, and it's around 65 degrees, and that might feel a little cold, but technically that's not cold water, right? That's neutral. So we want to get below that 60-degree mark, and we have our 2 temperatures, which is 52 degrees, which is very good for beginners,
Ooh.
right? And those who are a little trepidatious to attempting their first cold plunge. And then we have the 37-degree ice bath for those that really want to go for a more advanced and challenge themselves too.
How long do you stay in that one for?
So it all depends, right? It's always dose dependent, but what our minimum goal is going to be 2 minutes, right? So we
Got
want
it.
to stay in there for 2 minutes so we get past that initial stress response that always happens when it's a challenging stimulus, and we can get out of our sympathetic nervous system and into our parasympathetic nervous system, right? Where you go from bracing to embracing. And it's an amazing
Beautiful.
experience to watch people move through that.
All right, we're
Right. So
going to
that's the
dive.
first thing.
I want to dive
Yeah.
more into all the plunges, the sauna, this and
Mhm.
that. But before we continue, I want to find out about you. Wait, because back
Mhm.
up. How did you get into this field? I want to know about where you grew up, your background. I know you were an athlete. Tell us a little bit of that backstory.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll start at the beginning, right? So I was born in New York City. I grew up in Orange County, New York, in Warwick,
Mm-hmm.
technically Greenwood Lake, the village of Greenwood Lake.
Okay.
And my mother is from Sweden, all right? So that is a
Ah,
Nordic country. So I had always been exposed to kind of Nordic culture in that regard. So even when I was young, my mother would tell me, always end your showers on cold because it helps with your circulation. You're going to feel warmer. We weren't allowed to wear our first jacket until the
yep.
snow fell, right, to build up our immune system. And that always had a big imprint on me. And of
Yeah.
course, sauna, as we all know, is a big culture staple in Sweden and other Scandinavian countries. So that's always been a bit of part of my life. And then my father, who was many different careers, but he moved from a Broadway actor to a
Oh, wow.
paramedic to a nurse and then eventually a physician.
God
And he
bless.
also was a yoga practitioner, right? So he practiced yoga, he practiced breath work, and meditation, and he exposed me to those modalities as well. So then, obviously when you're young, you're still kind of figuring it out. I always thought my parents were maybe a little bit of the weird ones on the block, right? We weren't like the rest of the families in the rest of the town. So then growing up, right, moving into sports and athletics, I was a three-sport varsity athlete in soccer,
Wow.
basketball, and baseball. And I moved
Oh,
on to play
my.
college soccer. And then after that, I became a personal trainer.
Oh,
And I just continued in that field of fitness and athletics. And how I got into the space where I am now is because I saw how many people were putting forth the right effort and intention, right, to
okay.
change their health, to change their life, but they could never make it to that end goal, right? Because something came up beforehand, they didn't have enough energy in their tank to keep going, right? And I started getting into the working in aspects as well as what I like to call it. So my first experience in what we serve at Nordic Recovery was with cold water therapy and specifically the Wim Hof method. So I got
Wow.
into the Wim Hof method and I could share more about that as well if we don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't personally. So,
Yeah.
please, would you mind? Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So the Wim Hof method is basically a practice that was created by Wim Hof, and it incorporates the three pillars, which are our mindset training, right? So getting clear on our intention, our commitment towards engaging life in an active way, and then cold water immersion, right? So that's the second pillar, getting into the cold, challenging ourselves physically, mentally, and emotionally. And then also breath work and meditation. It was just a specific Wim Hof method breath work as well that you do. So those three pillars really kind of brought, more stability into my life, more calm, more peace. And moving on from there, I just sought deeper healing, other practices that
Yeah.
supported that. And yeah, so then here we are at Nordic Recovery.
Impressive.
Yeah,
Amazing, amazing. Wow, thank you so much. I mean, there's still so much more we have to go over and to talk more. We're here with Nordic Recovery. Really, you're committed to helping so many people. You say all walks of life, right? So it's not just for athletes, but so many people enjoy these therapies that are really breaking ground. I mean, how many years have you had the company for now?
so we incorporated in September of last year and we
Mhm.
opened in December. So technically, it's been right around 6 months that we've been open.
Wow. Wow. And then your time as the personal trainer, as a coach, and all that really amazing, fascinating, fascinating. So, would you
Mhm.
mind sharing a little bit about the process of, having your business and some obstacles, some hurdles? Would you mind sharing a little about that?
Of course.
Thank you.
So, like anything, right? I always bring it back to the cold, right? So, the hardest part is the submersion, right? The first step, the leap of faith, so to speak, right? And so that was the biggest challenge is because places like Nordic Recovery really don't exist, right? We're really the first in the market that are serving the amount of services that we are all under one price and in a group method. So taking that idea and bringing
Yeah.
it into reality when it had not necessarily been seen before also brought some challenges. Is people going to be into it? Am I going to find the right community that resonates with it? Can I find a space that can hold all these services as well as be the right environment for healing? And yeah, so I was just doing my Wim Hof method classes for a long time, and I met my business partner Chaz. He's a pretty cool guy who owned what's called the Paradigm Athletic Center with his wife, and it's a gymnastics facility that had a space available that they were looking for someone to come in. And he came to my class, and he loved it. It was the first time he ever did cold water therapy,
Wow.
and he was successful. And after that, we just kind of got talking. I told him about this idea that I had, and I was just really,
Yeah.
want to bring this to life and to bring the same healing to others that I felt myself. And we kind of just really resonated and clicked on that. And then he brought me in. We talked about what the idea could be, and we went for it. And so that was that first hurdle, right? Finding the right space and person to join forces and unify with. Because even though it's great to feel like you can do everything on your own, we always need a team, right? A community behind us. And so it was the right team partner. Then we found another guy to come in as well. His name's Eric. He's another business partner of ours. And together we really formed this trio that was able to bring the idea of Nordic recovery to life, right? And of course, we had to build the space. We had to make it what it is, and some of the challenges that came with navigating different ideas, different strengths, weaknesses, and ultimately coming to the place where we are today. So, in the beginning, you're always really just trying to create that inertia, pushing that ball down the hill. And
Mm-hmm.
then once you do and you find those communities and people feel really good when they come into Nordic recovery and they want to feel like that again. So once we've got that base, that foundation of membership and community, we're just building from there. And so the beginning is always the challenge. And then once you get going, you figure it out along the way.
Got it. Wow. Amazing, amazing. Well, there's still so much more to talk about, and of course, with the company and all that you're offering. So, where do we leave off? We have a lot to accomplish here. And by the way, I want to
Yeah.
hear more about all the services and even that infrared. And I know you offer special, and this is cool. So, where do we leave off in the notes? There's so many. So sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. So we were just talking about the cold water therapy,
Yeah.
right? The do different cold plunges. And then also, what that's great for, right, is decreasing inflammation, right? Increasing our immune system because we're going to boost our white blood cell count for up to 6 days post immersion. And then also, really, the mental health because we increase our dopamine up to 250% above baseline levels, right? So,
Okay.
dopamine is dope. It's going to feel
Okay.
good, right?
Yeah.
That's pleasure. Also, to your noradrenaline is going to increase, which is one of the main neurotransmitters that Adderall targets, right, for ADHD. So you feel very focused, you feel very alert, alive, and also that confidence you get from overcoming a challenge, that little win during the day that can cascade to big wins. Right. So that's the cold water therapy. Then the next part is the sauna. Right. So we have two different types of saunas. We have
Wow.
an full spectrum medical grade sauna that has the far infrared, the mid infrared, and the near infrared. Right. So far infrared is very good for detox. That's targeting the furthest layers of our skin.
Okay.
Right. Mid infrared is going to be very good for muscle repair, soft tissue
Okay.
healing. And then near infrared is very good for cellular health, right? Because that's stimulating the mitochondria of our cells to produce more ATP energy. So more energy, more resources, more availability for recovery, for action, whatever it is that needs to get done. And then we also have chromotherapy, which are
What's
colored.
that?
So that's color therapy, chromo.
Oh, okay.
So using the 7 different primary colors to elicit
Oh,
different healing
okay.
responses in the body, right? So for example, red, that aligns to the root chakra. That's going to be very grounding, good for circulation. Then you have orange, right? Orange is very good for detox. It's your
Mm-hmm.
sacral chakra. Yellow, that's your solar plexus, right? So that's very good for skin, digestion. Green, that aligns to the heart chakra, emotional body, as well as muscular system. Blue, that aligns to your throat chakra, right? Communication, also calming down the nervous system. Blue is a very calming color. Then you have indigo, right? That's that third eye, so clearing the mind. And then you have violet, right? The highest vibrational color, and that's good for like anxiety, depression, creativity, all that good stuff.
Ooh, 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 ooh. And then hold on, I saw something too, a PEM, what's PEMF? What does that stand for?
Yeah, so that's another service we have. So PEMF stands for Pulse Electromagnetic Field
Okay.
Therapy, right? So basically, what that mat is doing, it is sending
Wow.
different frequencies, right? Electrical current through the mat. All electrical current produces a magnetic field around it. And we also are producing, right, energy. And
Mm-hmm.
that low frequency, right? For example, humans interact in four different frequencies, majority, right? So number one is going to be beta frequency. That's what we're doing now, right? Normal
Okay.
consciousness. Alpha
Mm-hmm.
frequency, right? So that's like meditation, flow
Yep.
state, zone. Theta, which is going to be what you feel like when you're starting to fall asleep. And that's also around the average frequency of the earth. And then delta, which is dreaming, right? So the mat can produce all four of those frequencies and tune every cell in your body to that frequency as well. So it's like grounding, right? So when you're laying down on the earth, you're going out for a hike, you're by a waterfall, out in nature, you just feel very calm, right? You're at peace. That's what the mat is going to do for you. It's going to downregulate your nervous system and bring you into a parasympathetic state so that your body can recover.
Wow. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness. Okay. And now hold on. You also offer membership services, right? So we could do a little of everything. And could you share,
of
what,
course.
yeah, and how do you assess
Yeah,
someone? Like, what's the assessment process like?
yeah,
How do you know
absolutely.
what
And then,
someone needs? Yeah.
so the last service we have too is the red light therapy, right, which is very good for skin health, cellular health. I just want to mention that. And we also have traditional saunas like Finnish dry sauna, which are higher heat. And so the memberships that we have, what the program that we offer is called the Nordic cycle, right? So where
Okay.
you're cycling through all of these services in a recommended flow, which I provide. It's mostly self guided, but also coach led through the cold water immersion, right?
Okay.
Putting you through what I like to call elemental wellness.
Ooh.
So, how you would begin, right, is with your air element, air compression therapy, right? You could also combine that with your PMF, would be your earth element grounding, or you could save that for the end. Then from the air element, you move to your cold water element, right, which is cold water. Then you would move to your fire element, which would be sauna. And then
Okay.
if you want, you could also, if you're like a real Viking, right, which we like to be, you would then do another round of cold. So you do cold, hot, cold. But for some people, it's a little much. And then you would, after that, the final station would be your red light therapy.
Oh,
So the membership that we offer, the Nordic cycle, is access to every service every time you come in, right? So in a time structured way, so you could get all the benefits that amplify each other in every service within an hour to an hour, 15 minutes. So each appointment is for an hour, but sometimes it goes a little more, and that's okay. We're not going to kick you out, right? We love having you stay with us, right? Be here now. And every time you come in, you get access to every service, which is our Nordic Cycle program.
interesting. Wow, this is fascinating. Wow. I wish I lived a little closer. Um, I want to hear, what I love. You mentioned that, there's some breathing techniques to help you calm, right, and alleviate stress. And
Mhm.
so you don't have to be so reliant on pharmaceuticals and, that type of thing. Did you want to talk a little bit about that? Because you're helping
Yeah,
people. This is like alternative medicine in a sense.
of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. I mean, so many of us are struggling with anxiety, right? Stress, depression.
Mhm.
And how we deal with that is either by being unaware of our breathing, right? Just that's how you feel like when you're panicked, right? And the first step is to become aware, right? How am I breathing? How is my
Mm-hmm.
posture, right? Those
Oh,
affect directly how
mm-hmm.
you feel. Then from there, right, we take that awareness and we direct it consciously towards an end goal of calming our bodies down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Regulating our nervous system in a specific way so that we can become present in our bodies and in our minds, right? Where the monkey mind, As you know, I like to call it that train that just goes from one to-do list to the other. It just keeps rolling down the tracks unless we come to a stop. And that's a big part of breathwork and what we do at Nordic Recovery. Let's take a pause. All right, let's be here now. Let's stay present. And the breathwork that we use is extending the exhale longer than the inhale, right? And that helps us to tell our bodies that we're safe and we're calm, right? So what we use in the tub is going to be like a 2 to 3 second inhale through the nose, and then a 4 to 6 second exhale, just letting go. And just continuing that cycle, right? Without pause. And if you notice, you could even do it in your regular life. When you're feeling a little stressed, you're feeling a little anxious, right? Extend your exhale longer than your inhale.
Okay.
And that will, number one, decrease your heart rate, right? So it'll
Okay.
slow down. So that feels good. And number two, it will bring you into a parasympathetic nervous system state, which is rest, digest, relax. So it's a teaching of how to interact with the normal stress of daily life that we can't avoid, right? You don't want to avoid life. You want to embrace life. And that's the main teaching of the ice bath, is going from bracing to embracing, right? From constriction to relaxation. And it's a beautiful thing to witness that with people as well. No matter what age they are, we could always learn how to.
I was going to ask, do children even come in for this? Is it mostly
They
adults?
can, yeah. I mean, so obviously there are certain age requirements.
Yeah, of
right?
course.
Yeah, but like anything, but cold water is for everybody, right? You think about before the Industrial Revolution. If you weren't royalty, you were probably taking either a bath out in the lake,
right. Yep.
right? Or, in the river. And that was probably cold. So all ages can participate in cold water therapy. Obviously, certain stresses, certain people can't do that exactly. Like some of the contraindications would be, for example, like congestive heart failure, right? If you have that probably cold water is not the best thing for you, right? In that way, and a few other things. But besides that, most people can interact with cold water therapy. And that's a beautiful thing because, it's something that you don't even, most months out of the year, don't even need to pay for, right? In the winter months in the Northeast, if you turn that shower on cold, right, that's a therapy. Stay in there for
shock value, but yes.
yeah. So you could do it, right? These therapies, these teachings are accessible to everybody, right? Earth, grounding, get outside, get in the grass. Even if you live in New York City, go to Central Park, whatever it is, put your bare feet in the ground for 10 to 15 minutes.
Ah, wow. Now, you also coaching sessions along. Is this like for the first time only?
Yeah, so we have coaching sessions, of course. So
I saw that.
for every first timer, we give a specific 3-step protocol of how to approach cold water therapy, right? So step 1 would be preparation, learning the breath work as I just shared with you. Step 2 would be entering the ice bath and intercooling, right? Staying there for the 2 minutes, navigating that. And then step 3 would be coming out, warming the body back up, returning to your natural breath. And then for the other stuff, right, mostly it's like sauna, enjoy. You get too hot, you come on out. Try to stay for 20 minutes if you can, but that's okay too if you can't. And then red light therapy, just stand there and let yourself have exposed skin so the light can contact you. Air compression therapy, just let it feel good, right? If it's too intense, we'll turn it down. If you want a little more, we'll turn it up, right? It's natural. It's all good.
Turn it up, turn it down. You got it. Awesome, awesome. But we still got 3 more minutes left in your show. I'm not cutting you short. What else do you want to share with our listeners?
Well, I mean, I think the main message of Nordic Recovery and these types of wellness centers and services is that we don't need a pill for every ill, right? There are natural remedies that we can do and elements that we navigate with on a daily basis that are healing, right? As I shared, earth, cold water, right? Sunlight, get out in the sun.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's red light therapy is stimulating the infrared that you receive from the sun. right? Other things, get in tune with your breath, become aware of what is typically unconscious, right? In our normal daily lives, our breath. On average, humans breathe around 20,000 breaths per day. How many of those breaths are you aware of? Not many,
Oh my gosh.
right?
Now
And
you
think
got me
about your
thinking, and
thoughts,
I'm like,
right? Think about your thoughts as well. How many thoughts a day are we thinking and we're not aware of, right? Or just moving from one thing to the other. So the first step, right, of stopping and pausing and creating a different awareness and environment, not only externally, but really internally, right? Because that's really where we perceive life, is from our inner awareness and our inner environment, is to become aware of the breath, right? Because that's the foundation of life. So start becoming aware of your breath. Just think about, how am I breathing? Am I breathing through my nose? Am I breathing through my belly?
got it.
Right? Just doing those two specific things, breathing through your nose and breathing through your belly, is
Yeah.
going to calm you down and make you feel so much better and different. Then,
Ah,
once you slow down, right, and think about your breath,
yep.
you can stop the inner narrative, the thinking that's happening a lot for people where they are feeling anxious, right? What is
Mm-hmm.
anxiousness really? It's just imagining future situations that have not yet to come, right? And you're becoming stressed and anxious about what is to be. Or maybe you're depressed, right? And because you're living in the past, you're living in your
Mm-hmm.
memory. Be here now,
Sure. Be
right? Be
present.
present, be present. Exactly. So that's the main message of Nordic recovery, is to become present, to heal your body, right? The foundation of human life obviously is physical, right? We live in this world. So start to heal your physical body, right? Slow down a little bit, take care of yourself, and then you will see how much better you can take care of others, go on your mission, right? In the workplace, in your family, in your relationships, whatever it is. But invest in yourself, and the best investment you can ever make is in your health, right?
Mm-hmm.
No buy-in, no reward. No investment, no payout. So if you want to see some changes in your life, start investing today in your health and your wellness, and you will see so many different benefits that begin. And it's a beautiful thing.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you here, getting to know you. Excited to work with you, and I hope people will reach out to you and get started.
I hope
How,
so too, Jill. Thank
how
you
can
so
we
much.
contact you?
Yeah. So obviously you could reach out to us online at thenordicrecovery.com. Also
Mm-hmm.
our Instagram, right? Our same handle, at the Nordic Recovery. Um, Facebook page, Nordic Recovery. You could reach out to us on our phone number, right? 845-347-3112. And just come on out. If this is something that you've been thinking about, you've been seeing on social media, maybe your friends have been telling you about, oh, cold water, oh, you got to try it, or sauna, today's the day, right? There's no better day than today
Ah,
to
I agree.
and
Oh,
make your change.
thank you so much. Pleasure having you
Yeah.
here and looking forward to the next time we connect. Thanks again.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.